See, in earlier days, we had data getting generated in floppy. I mean, we used to store it in floppy disk, and later we moved on to DVDs, CDs, and hard disks, and day by day the data is getting generated. So we have a large volume of data that cannot be processed and stored, which is not possible with the traditional approach. So not only the storage and the processing, but it doesn't come. I mean, the approaches doesn't that approaches doesn't satisfying the given time frame. So for within time frame, we have to process and store the data. So we need a proper approach to do this. So what is big data is like, we are talking about volume of data and velocity of data. These are the characteristics and variety of data. Okay. So, can you give some examples about big data? Any one of you?
Data from social media.
Yeah, social media networking. Other than social media?
Data from sensors.
Sorry, anyone said something?
Data from sensors.
Okay. Okay.
Facebook, Twitter.
Yeah, that comes under social media, right?
And also big organization.
Yeah. So that is what, like as you said, like the data comes, gets generated in many of the things like Facebook, whatever it is, YouTube and Twitter, Google when you do some searches, and LinkedIn, and in aircrafts, and something like this. So the data is like generating like something else. So how will you define a data in terms of size? So when you say in terms of size, it can be like bytes of data, it can be gigabytes, or it can be terabytes, or it can be petabyte or exabyte. So what is a big data accordingly for if you have to tell for Hadoop, it's big data is a problem statement. So what will we do is, in traditional approaches, we used ETL systems. ETL is nothing but extract, transform, and load. So this is how the process was going in the traditional approaches, recent approaches. In data warehousing concepts, we use this ETL. Before getting into this concept, so how many of you are aware of um, Java and database? So anyone from Java and database technology or something related to it? Do you work on it? Okay, Seema is
Yes.
saying yes. Who is that
Yeah, I
one?
work with.
Okay, Suresh. Okay, so uh, on are you working on development or Suresh?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
you're on Java development.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So, like where the Java is getting used in Hadoop? Any idea about it?
No.
Okay. Okay. Seema is telling that she's a data analyst. Good. Okay. Fine. Java is used in Hadoop for processing. Processing area, we are writing a MR program that is based on Java. Not only on Java, we can write on many other languages. I will tell you in the future classes. So, okay. So something about big data we have discussed, examples we have just said. So, okay. As you know, like, classification of big data. So we have covered what is big data and how huge it is. How huge it is nothing but, that is, I told you, like in terms of size. We have to define them in terms of size. So whenever you say something about big data, you have to give the definitions, you have to give the proper examples of it. I'm just talking about interview-based things. So when you start talking about big data, you have to keep telling about examples, live examples, like where we are using it and how it is measured, that is in terms of size. So why we have these many problems in big data? So what are the drawbacks in big data? We are going to just look into the classification, characteristics, challenges. Later we will move on to the drawbacks, like what is the major drawback used in big data. So am I clear to you guys, or you want me to slow down and be specific more on topics? Just you can message me like one to one. I can understand. So guys, guys, I want you to ping me, or at least tell me, like, am I good, okay with it? Is this okay, or you want me to explain more about big data? Define big data. I'm not getting any answers from you guys. Anyone can ping me at least. Okay, okay, Raihan said okay. Okay, so let's move on to classification of big data. Before moving into it, so we have seen big data and how is it measured. So when we talk about the classification of a big data, it can be of three types. So big data is of three types. One is structured data. The other thing is semi-structured data. And the last one is unstructured data. Okay. So any idea about structured, semi-structured and unstructured data? Like what's there in your mind? Can you give me some examples on it? Guys, I want you to get interacted with this session and like at least reply for my questions. If you're not knowing, it's okay, but I just want to get some ideas from you as well. Like I want to check your level so that I can take it in that way the classes. Okay, Suresh.
Yes.
Yeah.
The structured is like a database, whatever we are storing it in a database is rows and columns. So they are structured, and then semi-structured is like XML data.
Okay.
Maybe answer is like a word or some picture data.
Okay. Okay. So structured is like, it can be in format of as Suresh said, in rows and columns, nothing but in the table format, which is again an Excel format. So it can be of XLS type and semi-structured. Semi-structured can be of XML files. When you talk about XML files, it is nothing but, email. Email is based on XML and Word documents. Okay, so unstructured is nothing but audio, video, images in the format of MP3, MP4. So files which are, having unstructured data is majorly supported by Hadoop. It supports unstructured, semi-structured, but I'll let you know like why we are coming to Hadoop, and let's first discuss about the big data fully, and we'll get into the Hadoop topics. So these are the classifications of big data. So structured data is nothing but it should have a proper form. So it has a proper format in it. So those type of things are known as Excel files. So the data which is not, does not have proper form associated to it is said to be semi-structured data. So example which I have given is emails, that is XML files, Word documents, and so on. Unstructured data is nothing but which does not have any form associated to it. That is said to be unstructured data. So for example, I have given you audio, video, images, and so on. So this is what about the classification of data. So let's talk about the characteristics of big data. So what are the characteristics of big data? As I told you in the earlier stage, when starting the classes, I told you like about volume of data, velocity of data, variety of data. So volume of data is nothing but the amount of data. So velocity is nothing but again the speed at which the data is getting generated. So it is, we have to talk about the speed here. And variety is nothing but the different types of data. It can be a raw data, it can be a text, it can be JPG format, image format, it can be an audio file, it can be a video file. Those things are said to be variety of data. So types of data. Okay. So this is like we have covered so far is what is big data, how huge it is. We know the classification of big data, characteristics of big data, and what are the challenges faced with big data. We are just going to say, see nowadays the data is generated uh, in a vast, in a very fast manner, and the storage and processing gets very difficult. So the first challenge in big data is like how do we store and manage such a huge volume of data efficiently? So this is like the first challenge, and second challenge is how does we process and extract valuable information from this huge volume of data in the given time. So main thing is first challenge will be storage and the second one will be the time we are taking for the processing. So first challenge is like for how do we store data efficiently, and second one is like how do we process and huge data in a given time frame. Okay. So these are the two challenges we are going to face it in big data. So storing and processing big data in traditional approaches. So how does the data getting stored? You know, when it comes from any sectors like organizations or banks or hospitals, whatever it can be anything. The source can be anything. So it gets into that ETL, that extraction, transform, load process. So the data is getting, processed over here in ETL, and then it is given via DB to end users. So this is how it happens. When if I have to talk about ETL approach, so if I keep, for example, if I keep updating more and more data, this year my data could be 100 GB, and next year the data could be 200 GB. So my space is around like 100 or 150. So again, I have to increase the data storage area. So data is getting generated each and every day. So we have to choose a place where we have to store it efficiently, and we have to process it whenever it is required in a given time frame. So this was happening in the traditional approach, and the major drawbacks in traditional approach is nothing but expensive. First thing is expensive. So when implementing and upgrading systems, they were using high-end systems in ETL. And also the second thing, second drawback, if I have to tell you, is scalability. Nothing but extension of data is very tough in ETL systems. So again, it takes lots of time. So time consuming. Third drawback is nothing but the time consuming. So when you store and process a big data, these are the three drawbacks which we are facing out. So in order to fix these drawbacks, we are introducing Hadoop here. Okay, so first thing, we will generally talk about big data, and the second one we will move into we will just compare the traditional systems and big data, and we have seen the drawbacks. What are the drawbacks in big data? So big data is nothing but a problem statement, and Hadoop is a solution for the big data. So this is what we have talked about, and next thing is we'll move on to Hadoop. So if you see in RDBMS, data is always stored in structured data, which is like rows and columns. So rows and columns, if you use in that way, it is very difficult to insert or select. Uh, like huge amount of data. So these are the drawbacks from DB. These are the drawbacks in DB, and we have started moving to Hadoop in this case. So when you talk about differences between database and Hadoop in detail, uh, let's take the first characteristics. Okay, let's talk about volume, size. So in DB, it is all about a limited data storage. When you talk about volume in Hadoop, it is like unlimited data storage. You can store it to any number of amount can be stored in it. So second characteristics, variety. Okay, what about the variety? Structured data. So database stores only the structured data because it is always in the table format, rows and columns format. And when you talk about variety in Hadoop, it is all about structured and unstructured data. So you can process both type of data here in Hadoop. When we speak about velocity, speed, it is of low performance in database. When you talk about in terms of velocity here in Hadoop, it is of high performance. So by default, Hadoop has been defined by three V's, which has been given by the IBM. So that is nothing but the volume, variety, and velocity. In DB we have 12 rules and some thing related to ACID properties. So ACID is nothing but atomicity, consistency, integrity, and durability. So RDBMS is based on some 12 rules and ACID properties. But here in Hadoop, we don't have such rules, and it is mainly developed on consistency and availability and partitioning gap theorem. Okay, so this is all about big data, and if you have any doubts, please let me know. Like, am I clear and am I okay with it? Shall we move on to Hadoop concept? You can just tell me on chat. Okay. So you want still any examples or something? Or this is okay, right? Okay. Okay. Yes. Fine. So let's talk about Hadoop here. So before I start about Hadoop, let me check out like what is there in your mind. Before coming into the session, you might have Googled, or you would have heard somewhere, or you would have seen some teams working in your organization. Like you would have heard somewhere about Hadoop. So please share something about Hadoop. One by one, you can just talk to me, or you can just ping me. Anyone else? You don't want to talk about Hadoop here? Hello? Suresh, Raihan, I'm hearing always Suresh telling me yes. Seema telling me yes. I am not seeing Raihan. Okay, so Seema, what is about? Let me point out one by one, and I'll ask. So Seema, what do you think about Hadoop?
I think Hadoop is something that our organization can use to process a lot of data, and that's what we're doing right now. So the reason I wanted to learn is just so that I can learn how to take data that is now like in SQL and stuff like that, and make it and process it faster and better. So that's what I'm trying to learn Hadoop so that I can do it, and I hope it does, and I know it does.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Yeah. Okay, thank you, Seema. So Suresh, what about you?
So you want me to talk about Hadoop or?
No, generally about Hadoop, like what you have it in your mind.
Yeah, it's used for processing a huge set of data.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Okay. Fine. Good. Raihan? Raihan, you there? Raihan? Okay, I'm not able to hear Raihan here. Okay. Okay, fine. Okay. So this is what you guys have it in mind. Okay. Okay. So let's talk about Hadoop. So Hadoop was, it is an open source framework software for distributed processing on large clusters of large computers. So Hadoop is nothing but a solution for the uh, big data. So as I said in previous days, we were using in data warehousing concepts, we use ETL systems. So extraction, transformation, load process will happen in that data warehousing concepts. So, the sources from OLTP to another OLTP happens only via this ETL systems. So, Hadoop is nothing but when we talk here, it is a ELT process. So, Hadoop is completely based on ELT process. That is nothing but the same: extract, load, and transform. Okay. So again, if I have to go in deep, then it is a RTAP systems, like real-time analytical processing. Okay. So this is about when data comes into Hadoop, let's say in this way. See, before, in earlier days, the data storage was happening in, as I told you, in floppy disk, CD, DVD, Blu-ray format. Then we got hard disk. Then storage got increased day by day, and we were not having good computing systems. So big data was like having a huge data, and we were not able to handle it. So for handling it, we tried to do many concepts, but we have not faced that much. We haven't reached like Hadoop. So most of the data can be missed, or somewhere it can be messed up. So in RDBMS, if you RDBMS can be anything. So when you store a data, it cannot be analyzed in RDBMS. That is the major drawback. So in Hadoop, it is not like that. You can load and you can analyze it. So that is why we have moved from RDBMS to HDFS. So we were looking for a good file system, where Hadoop has a HDFS file system. That is nothing but Hadoop distributed file system. Okay. So this is generally about Hadoop, and Tough Cutting was the one who developed this software. So if I have to talk about Hadoop components here, so Hadoop is a framework where it gets into two parts. So Hadoop, two components. One is HDFS and the other one is MapReduce. Okay. HDFS is for storing a data, means storage layer. Okay. And MapReduce is for processing. Okay. These are the two components which we are having in Hadoop. One is HDFS, the other one is MapReduce. HDFS. When you talk about HDFS, it is a file system. As I told you, Hadoop distributed file system. So let's take in this way. For an example, if I have if I have to go for a college, and I have to, it can be anything. It can be institute or organization, whatever it is. So if I'm getting into an organization, I want to know how many departments are there. So if you have to go and if you go in one person, and if you go and inquiry everything, it will take time for you. So if you at a time, if you go like 5 to 6 people, so each one will go to each department, and they'll gather the information, and they'll come back, and they will give the final output to you, so that you can analyze everything, like, okay, these are the departments and these are the things they are going on, something about an idea of the org. So the processing speed is also the same thing here in Hadoop, which is said to be distributed processing. So distributed processing is nothing but instead of one people doing the computation process, if we introduce much more people, much more resources into that, then the processing speed also will get increased, and the time frame, within the time frame the process gets completed. So that is why we are using this distributed processing here in Hadoop. So you can have a question like why we are not using in Windows, why we are using it, a separate file system called Hadoop file system, why we have got Hadoop, because Windows has having NTFS. Hello. Okay, so NTFS is nothing but what I was talking about is like Windows file system. So NTFS is one of the file system in Windows, as you know. Hadoop was not used here in Windows because it has a vulnerability problem, because virus detection happens easily here in Windows. So that is why we are not using Hadoop in Windows or Linux. We have moved to a separate thing called Hadoop, and we have a separate file system called Hadoop file system, Hadoop distributed file system. So when we talk about Hadoop HDFS storage area, we have uh, few of the daemons working here in HDFS. What is daemons? Daemons is nothing but the backend process. So what are the backend processes we are having it? First one is name node. Secondary name node. Data node. Task tracker and job tracker. Okay, so these are the daemons which is running in the HDFS layer. So what is, we will just see what is name node and what is secondary name node and what is job tracker, task tracker and data node. I'll just let you know. Before that, we will separate this as master slave architecture. So what are the master node and what are the slave node? Anyone has an idea about it? Like what is master node or slave node? Yeah, Seema, Suresh, Daihan. Okay, he said like no. Generally, you know about master and slave architecture, right? Suresh, what is the question? Okay, master slave architecture. You know what is the process behind it, right? What happens behind the master slave architecture? Okay, so I will let you know that as well in future classes. So that's okay. That's okay. Okay. The same thing here in Hadoop Seema. So it's nothing but I will let you know in future classes about the master and slave diagrams, like how the data comes into Hadoop and what happens inside the Hadoop and what the file system does and the MapReduce does. So let's talk about the daemons first, because it is a base of the HDFS. And guys, I'll tell you one thing is like, where if you have a strong knowledge about HDFS and MapReduce, you are covering the 50% of Hadoop. So this is where the place you have to strong your base and you have to get into things. So it's quite a good place where you can learn Hadoop, and it is very hot in market. I'm telling you, it will give you a very good life. So it has a lots of features we will discuss in future classes, but I'm telling you in between as well. So these are the things which is very important. So please make sure that you are answering in interviews about these things, because they will definitely ask you to draw the architecture or just let me know like how you are working on the clusters, and what are the nodes, how many nodes do you have, and what is your master slave architecture. This will be your first question in HDFS. So where you should answer in such a way that this is how we are getting the data, and this is how it is going on in master node, and this is how it happens in slave node. Again the process goes back to client. So in future classes we will just tell about Hadoop, and how does a file write into it, and how to read the file, so something like that. So this is all about HDFS daemons. So getting back to the HDFS things, so this is about the HDFS daemons. So if you have any doubts, or if you don't understand, if I am not reachable to you, please let me know. Please stop me so that I will get it more clear for you. And okay, so getting back now, I think so far it is good for you guys. So you have an idea about big data. Now we are talking about Hadoop. So Hadoop is nothing but an open source framework. It has nothing but ELT process, that is extract, load, transformation, and real-time analytic processing. So Hadoop has two components, which is HDFS, and the other one is for MapReduce. MapReduce is for processing, and HDFS is for storage area. So when you put down Hadoop, it breaks into two things, that is HDFS and MapReduce. So this is how you have to be very clear. Then they ask about you something about components, then it should be HDFS and MapReduce. Okay. So in detail, what are the daemons? Daemons in the sense is that is the services which is running behind these are the Hadoop services. Once you start this only you can work into it. So Apache Hadoop, they have 5 daemons by default: name node, secondary name node, data node, task tracker, and job tracker. So name node and secondary name node will come under the master node. Okay, so this comes under the master node. Okay, so data node is under the slave node. Okay, so what is the role of the name node, secondary name node, data node, task tracker, job tracker? Everything in detail we'll let you know in the future classes. But these are the basic things which you have to understand. So these are the daemons. Without this you cannot work on Hadoop. So once you start these services only you can work on the Hadoop. So this is what I was talking about. We have okay, so this is all about the Hadoop components I was about to tell you. And what is a cluster? Okay, so here we go. What is a cluster? Anyone has an idea about it? Guys? Anyone can tell me what is a cluster? Okay, set of nodes, Suresh. Seema? Okay, set of nodes for data storage. Okay, okay. So, yes, as you said, cluster is a set of nodes for data storage and for processing. Hadoop clusters. Hadoop is of okay. First, let me talk about three types in Hadoop. I mean, what are the modes available in Hadoop? First one is standalone, and distributed, and pseudo distributed. We will deal with the pseudo distributed. So what are the things, materials apart from class? So, uh, what are the things you would require is you will have a VMware, and we'll give you a CDH image, so you can download it from Cloudera site and you can work on it. I'll let you know like how we have to do all these things. So we will install, and major thing when you work on Hadoop, it should be everything on hands-on. So only then you will get it. Like what are the things available, and what you're going to work, and you will be able to answer in interviews about the real-time environments where we will give the projects for you. In the real-time based scenarios, I will give you some projects so that you can work on it and you will have an idea about it. So this is about the hands-on, and uh, once you start downloading the software and installing it, we deal with the pseudo distributed. Pseudo distributed is nothing but it will have. I'll let you know in future about it. So let's talk about cluster. So Hadoop clusters. So Hadoop clusters are nothing but the same set of nodes where we are having, if I have to tell about, my projects, so we have around 50 nodes. So all that 50 nodes, each node will have a hard disk and, a RAM speed of 16 GB, and, hard disk capacity will be of 100 GB. So when data comes into, the nodes, it will start separating to the, it will get into the master node and it will ask the metadata, and it will just stored in the slave nodes. So this is how it happens. So I will tell you the architecture in brief in future. So this is what about the cluster ideas. So it will have a various nodes, and on the various nodes we will put the data and we will process it, and we will show it how it is. So this is all about the cluster. What I wanted to tell you is, okay, so pseudo distributed is there again. We will install CDH and we will work on it. I will let you know how it is working on CDH when we are doing hands-on. So before getting into this in deep, let me show you some something called, okay. You guys have syllabus with you?
Yes.
Okay. So, okay, from tomorrow we'll cover about introduction to big data in more, like big data and its hypes, like structured and versus unstructured data, more examples, and I will give you the exact definition of big data, and we will see the uses and scenarios, and what are the challenges. As I told you, like what are the challenges? Like we have the storage capacity, and the processing is the major, the processing and the time management is the more thing important, more challenges. It is the two challenges we are facing in big data. So we will just go in deep about distributed processing, and in session 2 it is all about Hadoop. So now I will just let you know the history of Hadoop. That is nothing but a roadmap of Hadoop, and we will just go in deep about Hadoop, like what it is, where it has come, and let's talk about in this deep in session 2 classes. So Hadoop ecosystem, I will show you right now, in my slides. So what is the ecosystem, so that you will have an idea like what is the Hadoop framework totally all about, and like what to when to use, and when we should not use Hadoop. So Hadoop is nothing but, it handles only the huge volume of data. It doesn't handle the small set of data. When you have to talk about Hadoop, it is like large set of data. Only then we have to go for Hadoop. So, and what is Hadoop? Key distinctions of Hadoop, Hadoop components and architecture. As I told you, like what are the components available, I'll just show you to you. I have already discussed the components like storage area and processing area. So those are the two components, and we will see more about the architecture in future. That is nothing but a reading a file and writing a file. So this is all about the session 2 and session 3. We will just get into the Hadoop clusters, like how to set up a cluster and how to work on it. And I'll tell you like how to download the software VMware and just to put CDH into it, and we'll have hands-on on it. So apart from that, session 3 will be for MapReduce. So MapReduce is nothing but, as I told you, in Hadoop it is a processing area. So MapReduce is completely written in Java. If you want, you can write in Python, Perl, Ruby. These are the other languages which is used to write MapReduce. So I'm just mentioning it over here. Okay, so MapReduce can be written in Java, but I'll let you know only in Java. If you know Python, it is good, and if you work with Python, it's a very good it has a very good scope in market. So right now, many of them are going for Python. So it is again good. Perl and Ruby. These are the languages which we can write MapReduce. MapReduce is basically into two, it has two things. One is map and the other one is reduce. So if suppose, let's talk about 100 MB of data. Okay, if I have to give an 100 MB of data to Hadoop file system, what it will do is basically this 100 MB of data, the default block size in Hadoop is 128 MB. Okay, so if I am giving this 128 MB is in Hadoop 2. Okay, let me talk about the versions first. We have Hadoop 1 and Hadoop 2. Okay, so in Hadoop 1 we have MR, a MapReduce algorithm used in it, and Hadoop 2 is nothing but it has yarn in it. So yarn is again nothing but yet another resource negotiator. Okay, so fine. So we'll say it as Hadoop 2.0. I will tell you the versions whichever got failed and which was stable in the later classes. These are the things you have to understand right now. So Hadoop 1 has MR, that is nothing but MapReduce. Okay, here in Hadoop 2.0 we have MR plus yeah. Okay, so this is all about the Hadoop versions, and when 100 MB of data comes in Hadoop 1, the default block size will be 64 MB, and if you want you can change it to 128 MB, but in Hadoop 2.0 the default size of a block is 128 MB. Okay, so let's talk about Hadoop 1. In Hadoop 1, if I send 100 MB of data, so what it will do is it will split into 2. So that 2 will be known as input splits. Then later, that input splits will get separated here in mapper. As I told you, that is of two things in mapper and in MapReduce, that is mapper and reducer. So whatever you have it in mapper is input splits will get processed here. We have three types. I mean, we have few of the sorting and shuffling things happening here in MapReduce. when we are talking about MR algorithm and architecture, I will let you know like what are the internal phases running here in MapReduce. But in general, right now I'm telling you is MapReduce has a few of the phases internally built in it. That is nothing but sorting, shuffling, partitioning. These are the things which we are handling here in mapper. So mapper task has combiner task, partitioner task, sorting task, grouping task, and later it comes to the reducer task. These are the various things happening in between the mapper reduce, but we will know only the mapper and reducer. We can just look into it. But combiner, partitioner, sorting, and grouping is something like internally done, so we will not know it, but we can overall we can know about it, like what are the phases internally it is running, what it tries to do. So we will see in detail in future classes when we are taking MR algorithm. So this is what about the mapper, and whatever the output that comes out from mapper is getting into the reducer as input. So once that reducer gives the output, that will be your final output. That is how you will manage in the MapReduce part. So if this is all about the MapReduce area which I wanted to tell you about, about the Hadoop versions. Okay, so this is about the input split and HDFS block, but I have given just an overview about each input split and HDFS block. But in later classes, we will just know like what is MapReduce, what are the input splits and HDFS block. I'm sorry, and relational between the split and the blocks, and we will just know the flow, how it works, and speculative execution is one of the important question which will be asked in interviews. I will tell you more about it in MapReduce class. So when you get into advanced MapReduce, here we go is what we will talk about combiners, we will talk about partitioners, we will talk about the data types used in Hadoop, and uh, what are the other concepts? Okay. So, okay, input format hierarchy, output format hierarchy, and site data distribution. This is distributed cache. This is more and more important. When you talk about, this is what I was telling. So when data comes into it, you should know like you should you should understand the distributed cache theorem. Only then you will be able to understand like how the data comes in a real system and how does it process. So advanced MapReduce concepts also includes joins. So map size join, reduce size join, I'll let you know in future what it is in MapReduce classes. So once we have completed this Hadoop and MapReduce process, we will get into the mock interview sessions. So I will just try to filter you guys in Hadoop and MapReduce, like how far we are. So we'll have just a mock-up interview session over there, and then we will move on to the tools like Pig, Hive, HBase, so on. Okay. So okay, after the mock interview session has been done, we will get into Pig session. Okay, we will just generally talk about what is Pig, why we are using Pig, and what is the need of Pig. What is the comparison done with, what are the things like differences between SQL and Pig. So we will just discuss all these things in Pig. If I have to tell you in one line about Pig, then okay, it is nothing but a scripting language. Okay, so we used to write the data analysis programs for large set of data, which is there in Hadoop cluster. So it is nothing but it is written in Pig Latin. So this is all about Pig in general. Okay, so it is a scripting language which is handling a large set of data. Okay, so we'll just talk about like what is Pig and why Pig, why we are getting data from in Hadoop for Pig, and what are the execution types we are using, and how we are going to run the Pig scripts, and how okay. Okay, so something about this Pig. You will have 2 to 3 day sessions, because Pig is not enough. In 1 hour, you cannot learn Pig. It will take at least 2 3 sessions to understand what is Pig. So it is not much more complicated. You can easily write the Pig. If I have to simply tell, okay, when there is 100 lines of program in Java, it is simply done in 4 lines in Pig. So Pig makes your task very easy. So that is why everyone choose Pig instead of Java. If you go for interviews, they will ask you like more on MapReduce Java, or you will answer you are good in Pig and Hive. If you say Pig and Hive, it has a different thing. But if you are from Java background, and if you say I'm a Java oriented, then you can put me questions on MapReduce. Then they will ask more about MapReduce. So this is how you can, you can identify yourself like where you are. So you're good in Java. If you can good in Java, you can go more about MapReduce. If you are good in Pig scriptings and all, you can come to this Pig. If you are good in scripting, you can come for Pig. So this is how we are going to discuss, and Pig Latin macros and UDF statements. Okay, UDF is nothing but the user-defined functions. At first, when you get into some interviews, they will ask you, okay, so tell me like what are the user-defined functions. You have done it in Pig and Hive. So this is how they will ask you. So you have user-defined function is nothing but what you define it, what the way you are defining a function here in Pig and Hive. So these are the things you have to highlight it. And Pig Latin file loaders. Okay, so these are the things we are going to cover about Pig in the Pig sessions, and later. Okay, Hive. Hive is nothing but it is a SQL-like language. Um which is of multiples of data from HDFS is being where it comes from RDBMS, and the query language which is taken to Hive, and we are using it deals only with the QL languages, query languages. That is why it is known as Hive QL. So we will just see the difference between Pig and Hive. So this is all about the Pig and Hive concepts. So we will let you know like what are the Hive things going on, Hive QL, and we will compare this Hive QL with Pig, and we will talk about managed and external tables, which is again which very big concept. We have to give you some examples of it, and we will have hands-on on it, so that you will have an idea about Hive. Okay, so okay, Metastore, I will tell you what it is in Hive, and data warehouse concept is also there in Hive. It is not here. Okay, it comes under some topics. I'll just let you know what it is. Partitions and buckets and importing data, like how will you do the alter and drop commands. If you are quite good in database, you might have come across these query languages. So you would have known about these commands, like how will you alter a table, how will you drop a table, and how will you select these particular fields from the table. So this is how we will just compare it with Hive, and there are like few modulations. I will let you know like what it is. That's it. And Hive uses MR scripts. Okay, we will talk about Hive joins, which is again and again very important question in interviews. They will ask you about the real-time scenario. Two tables are there. There are like, I want to use this joins, use this Hive join, and write a query for me. So in that way, you will write a query and give it to them. So you should know about joins. I mean, you should be having a thorough knowledge about joins. Once that Hive and Pig is done, we will have the resume preparations. Okay. So again, UDFs in Hive, you guys know like what are the user defined functions. I will let you know in detail in future classes. So generally, user defined function will be asked in interviews. So you should know how to define a function in Hive or Pig. Once after this session is completed. So after that, we will move on to the resume preparation. We will help you in resume formats, like how we can use the keywords and what are the things where the searchers can take out from that keywords of your resume, and they can put you for interview. So this way we will help you in resume preparation. And apart from that, if you come back to Hadoop again, so here we have it as HBase. HBase is nothing but it comes under the NoSQL. NoSQL is nothing complicated. It is not only SQL. That is it. That is the expansion of NoSQL. So if you talk about HBase in one sentence, it is a column-oriented database that allows reading and writing data on HDFS in real time. So this is how it happens in HBase. So what are the data models and what is the difference between RDBMS and HBase? We will look into it later. And I will just let you know what is the architecture and operations in future classes. So it is generally a column oriented database. This is what you should know about the HBase. So and I will let you know how to load data into HBase and what are the shell commands used in HBase, and what is the operations through Java, through MR. So these are the things we are just going to see in the HBase classes. And Zookeeper and Oozie. Okay. Zookeeper is nothing but it takes care of all the coordination that is required to function properly among the softwares which are used. So uh, it's a Zookeeper does all the coordination, but we need not focus more on Zookeeper. It is general a thing, but we do have a session, so we will cover what it is. So we will see the data models and distributed coordination, what it is, and okay. Other thing, if I have to talk is okay, Oozie workflow. Okay. See, when there are lots of things like pig scripting, Hive things, Hive query language, or a Scoop which is used for importing and exporting data. So in these areas, a task is separately done. So all this combined together, we will create a job in Oozie. Oozie is nothing but it is a server where we will create jobs. So this is all about Oozie. Oozie is a very big concept, there again in Hadoop. So we will just cover the introduction about Oozie. I will let you know what is the workflow of Oozie in the session, Oozie session. So this is all about, I wanted to tell you about Oozie. Oozie is nothing but a server where we will create lots of jobs in it, and the jobs there again will have lots of smaller tasks in it. So this is how we are going to define it. And if you have to talk about Scoop, Scoop is a very important area, big Hive Scoop. Without this, no interviews. So Scoop is like importing and exporting data from RDBMS to HDFS. This is what I was to show you about. Okay, so you guys might see my screen. So this is how from any RDBMS, it can be anything. It is not only SQL, it can be anything. It can be anything. So from RDBMS to HDFS, we are importing and exporting data only via Scoop. So Scoop is the only intermediate person who is just contacting HDFS and relational database systems. Okay, so this is all about Scoop, and we will just see what are the commands we are going to work on it, and later in the 17th session, 17th day, okay, Hadoop 2.0, that is nothing but Yarn. Yarn is nothing but, again, it is a yet another resource negotiator. So this is what I was telling about. So Hadoop one limitations, we will just see like why we have come to Hadoop 2. So what are the things? I will explain you right now about the name node, about the services, what it is running, generally about it, if you want to know in deep. Else we can see it in the next class. But these are the daemons which is running in Hadoop, which I told you, that is nothing but name node, and uh, secondary name node, data node, task tracker, job tracker. These are the daemons. So we will discuss more about it and what is the difference in Hadoop 2. When I said here in Hadoop 1, we have task tracker and job tracker in slave nodes. We will have, instead of task tracker and job tracker, we will have resource manager and node manager in Hadoop 2. So this is the difference. Right now I can tell you. So we will see what are the Yarn applications, and we will see the architecture of Yarn and anatomy. Anatomy is nothing but how will you read and write, how is the read and write access done in Yarn. Hadoop 2 is good in market. So you should know how to read and write data there again in Yarn. So that is more important. It is recently asked in interviews like, please let me know. They will give you a paper and pen and they will ask you to explain it. So this is how you will start explaining that this is how, boss, that this much data I have, this much data comes into the name node, and this is how the process goes. Name node will do all these things. So this is how you will explain. I will let you know in future about it in Yarn classes. So this is all about the course, and we will do the project discussion about Java to MapReduce conversion, and we will have MapReduce projects. I will give you some real-time scenarios, like whatever I am facing, I will just share it with you guys so that you will also have an idea like how to resolve it once after this session is done. So this is how we will take the things, and mock-up interview questions will be, session will be done after, again, Hadoop 2 is completed. So this is how the whole course is all about. So as we were discussing about big data, so I told you about Scoop, Pig, and Hive, HBase, Oozie, Oozie Workflow, and Zookeeper. So these are the components of Hadoop ecosystem. So here, you will have, other than Zookeeper, Scoop, and all, you will have Mahout, R connectors, and Flume. So we are not covering it here. Ambari is one of the things which is used in Hortonworks. So yeah, if you have to talk about Hadoop, there are various technologies. I don't know whether you guys would have searched about it or not. We have Cloudera, we have Mapr, we have Hortonworks, we have Squirrel, IBM Big Insights. So these are the types of Hadoop. So Hadoop is a common name, but it has been defined, it has been given each and by each product, by Cloudera, they have named Hadoop as Cloudera. So this is how each one has done, they have named Hadoop. It can be, that is what I told you is Cloudera, types of Hadoop. Okay, I'll just let you know. So types of Hadoop, we have it as Cloudera. Okay, here we are going to use CDH5. Okay, 5.5. I'll let you know how it is. So the CDH 5.5. So this is how your Cloudera looks like. Okay, we have inbuilt Eclipse Java in it, so it is very easy. Everything is installed in it. Pig is installed in it, Hive is installed in it, everything is installed in this. So we will just see the hands-on on Cloudera in future. Okay, so these are the things which I was about to tell you. And okay, Cloudera is one of the type and Mapr is another one. Okay, and Hortonworks, and it is Squirrel. Okay, IBM Big Insights. Okay, IBM Big Insights. Okay, these are the square. I mean, these are the things which is being used, and IBM Big Insights uses only the HDFS part. Okay, and EMC Square, Google, Yahoo, Oracle, Hadoop, they are all having the HDFS part in it. They use some processing, but it can be of Java. There again, I told you, MapReduce program can be written in Java, Python, Ruby, whatever the languages we are using it. So this is how it happens. And Cloudera is like something, a setup which will have everything in it. And MapR is like again a very good area. MapR will give you a good future. And Hortonworks is also again a good place. If you know 1 and 2 technologies, if you know Cloudera and Hortonworks, it is good. If you know Cloudera and MapR, it is again really good. So in this session, we will I will let you know like how we have to install all the softwares in in Linux machine, and how to work with that, how to do the hands-on, and I will tell you how to work with the Cloudera. So this is all about, just going to tell you about. So Squirrel and IBM Big Insights. Okay, so these are the things which I wanted to tell you. What are the NoSQL databases we are going to use? Here is HBase. Okay, but other than HBase, we have MongoDB, Cassandra. Okay, these are the other tools, but we are not covering here. But for your knowledge, I'm just telling you that MongoDB and Cassandra are the other NoSQL things. Okay, so for storing, we are using Scoop. Okay, Flume is nothing but a log collector. So once everything is done in HDFS, so that is where the logs get deposited here in Flume. So that is why we are using this Flume. Other things are Kafka, but here in this course we are covering only about Scoop, because these are all a very, very big concept. If you take each concept, you have to know nook and corner, then you have to go in deep and deep and deep. So it will take 2 to 3 sessions to understand what it is. So apart from Scoop, you can know about Flume, and it is about Kafka, Shell, and Azure. I think you would have heard about it. This is all about storage place. Okay. And okay. Process area, as you know, we were talking about MR, Yarn, Pig, Hive, Impala. Okay, here we will talk about MR, Yarn, Pig, and Hive. Impala, and we have other things as well. Spark, Storm. Spark and Storm is recently, it is just spreading over. Again, if you know Spark and Storm, it is an additional thing you have done. It adds more value, more and more value. Already your resume will be value, but it will give more value to the resume. So this is how these are the things we are just having in market, and we are just going to concentrate only 1 or 2 products. In the NoSQL store and process area, we will cover MR, Yarn, Pig, Hive. I will just give an introduction about Spark and Storm later if we have time in the later sessions. Okay, so Spark and Storm, again, if you have to write, you can write it in Python and Java. Okay, you can write it in Scala. I don't know how many of you would have heard about Scala. Just Google it and come back to next classes. I will, let you know what it is in future classes. I'll just give an introduction about Scala, but it is not under these course contents. But so that you will have a clear understanding, like what is the online transaction processing. This is real-time processing systems. So these are the real-time processing systems we are using it. So in general, we have spoke about big data and what are the products which we are using it in Hadoop, and what are the components of Hadoop, what is the syllabus, and what we are going to do, and what we are going to install and work on it. These are the things which comes in mind. And okay, so I've covered the course contents. Okay. Okay, this is what about Hadoop ecosystem I was talking about. So this is how the Hadoop ecosystem resides. In Hadoop 1, you will not find this yarn. Distributed processing framework will not be there in Hadoop 1. So only HDFS. On top of it, you will have PIG-OC, Hive, and on left to it, you will have Zookeeper, Flume, Scoop, something like that. So in Hadoop 2, you will have one more thing added on top of HDFS, that is nothing but yarn. So this is a distributed processing framework. So this is how you will be, explaining about Hadoop ecosystems. If I have to tell you about the Hadoop roadmap, okay, this concept is also, it's a general thing which I have to tell you. In 2002, Yahoo people started a research and development on Google. So there are two people who has worked on this Hadoop, and they have brought it to market. They are none other but Duff Cutting and Michael. So when Duff Cutting's son was playing with an elephant toy, so he got a name called Hadoop from that. So that is how he named this technology as Hadoop. So this framework as Hadoop. So in 2002, what happened is Yahoo started an R&D development in Google. So that is in 2004, they introduced a storage concept called Google File System. So they, in 2004, they introduced a concept called GFS, that is nothing but the Google File System. And in 2005, Duff Cutting added distributed file system and MapReduce concept to that file system. So to that concept. So this is how in 2005 it was. In 2006, what happened is Yahoo started testing them on the projects. So it worked out, and originally, if you have to say, the start of Hadoop is from 2006 year. So in 2007, successfully they have implemented on more than, on 1,000 nodes of clusters, and it resulted success. And this is how they started using in 4,000 nodes in the year 2008, and it was done by the Apache. So finally, in 2009, Apache releases as Hadoop, Apache Hadoop. So later what happened is, after releasing it, Apache Hadoop, Duff Cutting joined to Cloudera. So this is how slowly the process comes out. This is the roadmap of Hadoop, and history of Hadoop, like this is how it has started. If you want more thing about it, we will cover it in the Hadoop sessions. Okay. Guys, you're able to understand, or I'm just going like very fast?
It's okay. Yeah. What about the materials you gave? Anything?
Yeah, we will give
Training
you
material?
yeah, we will give you the materials. We will give you the softwares. We will give you everything, like how we have to download. Because first two sessions we will be covering about big data and Hadoop in general. This is again a theory part. You will not have an hands-on. In those two sessions, I will let you know how to download VMware and how to do that Cloudera. This is what I was showing you, right? Cloudera. This I will let you know how to download it. Okay, so in the forthcoming sessions, we will download it and we will do the hands-on in third session and fourth session. Okay.
Okay. What about the exam preparation? Do you provide any certification assistance?
Yeah, you can get back. You can contact Monica for this. I think you guys would have her contact number and Gmail ID. I mean, email ID. Yeah, you can have a touch basis with her. She will let you know about the certifications and all. But we do have certifications. Okay.
You mean that is a separate course or as part of
It is a part of course.
this one?
I'm not sure about it. You can have a touch basis with Monica. She will explain you more about it.
Okay. You never told your name.
My name is Ashwini. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay.
So you're going to take the classes going forward or someone else?
Sorry.
Now going forward, who is the instructor? Are you the instructor or someone else is going to?
I think we can close it for today, or you want to still continue? If you want to continue, I can do it, because already one of the guy has been. I mean, I think he has left out. So what do you want to do it, Suresh?
No, I'm okay. Just
Okay. Any issues in that, Suresh?
no. I just because I'm not sure whether you told your name or not. So just
Okay. Okay.
wanted to check.
Okay, so today being the first session, you will have like this, but from next session, we will start interacting with each other so that we will have an hands-on. When you are doing that hands-on, na, you will feel that craze, like how it works and what you are going to do. When you start playing with the comments, you will feel fantastic. So, like in start, history, all these things, when you talk about all these things, it will be quite, a dumb session. So after that, you will feel that craze. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I think Seema left for the day. Seema? Okay, Seema left for the day. Okay, Suresh. So what we will
No,
do?
I didn't leave. No.
Ah,
Hi, Ashwini. I didn't leave. I'm sorry, I was on mute. Okay. Will you be the tutor tomorrow too? Will you be the same person who will be tutoring us for the rest of the session?
yeah. I will be the same person who will be continuing for the whole course. Okay, Seema?
Okay.
Okay, so in forthcoming, in future classes, I will tell you how to download it and how to, install it. By default, it is a very quick step. You can do it, but it takes time for downloading. So the thing is, tomorrow when I tell you, please download it and keep it so that in the future sessions, we will start hands-on and we will do everything. I will explain you. We will do that. I will give you the general format about it, and we will give you, I will give you some commands to work on it so that you will have an hands-on on it and you can enjoy the session. In this way, I can take you. If you want me to do it in better way, it is not an issue. I can make it myself better in future classes. Like this is how Ashwini, your thing is. So we want more clarification on this. I want you to stop here. In that way, if you want to tell something, be frank and tell me. I will correct it in next classes so that I can make you understand in a better way, because it is not an easy task to understand Hadoop in one day. So it takes time for you guys, but the way I am giving you, I'm mentoring you in that way you can suggest me like this is what you can do, Ashwini. So any suggestions do you have like that?
No, for today.
Okay, Suresh, thank you. Seema?
Thank you, Ashwini. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Shruti.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, bye.
Bye.